All right, now we are in the top 20, folks. So I'm gonna go through these a bit quicker. I'll take my time when I get to the last 10, but for number 20, we're going to do Moonlight. I adore the direction of this movie. The director had like a 9-year hiatus, I think, from like his first feature debut till he made this one in 2016. Like I watched this pretty much so kind of like in a half, like close to like empty theater room. I think there was like somebody behind me, but man, like the music, the directing, the acting, the three actors that play as the young man, Chiron, they're all marvelous. Apparently, they only read the scenes they were in, so they didn't even like get the chance to see like what their character would be like as a young teenager or adult or a young child. But great movie. If anybody remembers, like at the Oscars from 2017, La La Land and Moonlight were supposedly switched around by Harvey. What's his name? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Warren Beatty. Poor guy. Both of them were good films, but I'm okay with what they picked for Best Picture of that year. The favorite. So this one I think came out in 2018, so I watched it fairly recently. Uh, it's kind of like a really well made modern day period piece movie. It's not pretentious in the slightest. The director is pretty eccentric. So him choosing this project to work on, obviously, it's going to be on the wild side, crazy, weird ending. Emma Stone, oh man, I love her. She was funny in this movie. So it's a very comedic movie, pretty easy to watch. And now next up, First Reform with Ethan Hawke, who plays as a priest that is going through some trauma after losing his son. This woman he is like ministering to, her husband is contemplating like having her newborn be aborted because he thinks like he's super into like the idea of the environment, kind of like we can't have our children be born in the state of the world that's going to end. Once you agree so, Pastor? All the while, the Ethan Hawke's character is clearly going through his crisis of faith. Okay. Since I messed up on that last one, this one does have a digital copy, and it says good till, well, actually, code may not be valid after 2020. You want to check out a good movie and watch it for free? Take this code right here and watch it. Because after 2020, no more, baby. All right, now these next two came out in the same year, 2014, a magical year for my young movie-going experience personality. I don't know if I'm going with that. So I'm kind of trying to decide which one should I put at least at number 15 at least. 16, 15, 17, I don't even know where I'm at in this order. But I decided I'm going to go with John Wick. I've always loved Keanu Reeves as a person. Will technically watch anything he's in. And this is probably one of his more famous roles, besides his character in The Matrix as Neo. This is a well-made B-movie, and my brother would say the same thing. That's what he referred this to as, and I'm like, hey, you're kind of right. It's not like super like special effects. It's all natural. Keanu Reeves practically does his own stunt. He's basically the American Jackie Chan, like Tom Cruise. I've not seen 2 or 3 yet. So if you got time to kill and you want to watch a great Keanu Reeves movie, check John Wick out. It's a great movie. Watch it with your friends. Watch it with your girlfriend. Watch it with your grandma. Guts, violence, gore, all that violence, man. Now next up, Nightcrawler, starring Jake Gyllenhaal as a young, opportunistic man with a camera, finds a crime scene, gets it sold, and in the meanwhile manipulates how the film looks, and makes you question like how the seedy underbelly of the evening news manipulates their news for the audiences. This was described by the director as a success story, which is kind of true, dark in a way, considering the subject matter and the psychological state of Jake Gyllenhaal's character. We can all definitely agree that Jake Gyllenhaal should have at least been nominated for this film. But this is definitely one of his most popular roles, as he basically elevates and moves the entire movie. Like, without him, this movie would still work, but it just takes it to a whole nother level because he's just that good. Obviously, he is very gaunt in the movie. Lost 20 pounds for the role, stayed in character, and the dedication makes the movie worthwhile. Phenomenal movie. Now, next up, Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Now, this is a film I presume some of you might have seen because I've seen that on Facebook. A couple of my friends have liked the movie, so I guess I don't have to really go in depth. But basically, in a simplistic way, it's about a man that falls in love with his AI computer, who is wonderfully performed by Scarlett Johansson, who plays as Samantha, the AI character. And you do feel for the two main characters, and how they pull it off is just beyond me. They somehow made it work. They get you invested to basically where you're just watching Joaquin Phoenix basically play off against acting that's only in existence through dialogue. And it's a beautiful story. Also, Amy Adams in there is great. The guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt, yes, he's also in it too. It's just a very marvelous movie, really colorful. The red definitely lets you know the type of vibe you're going to get from it. Color palette, acting, this pretty much is just a perfect movie. Alright, now these next four do have a pattern, and I want you to see if you notice it. La La Land, starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. A wonderfully made musical by the guy that directed Whiplash 2 years prior, and that in itself was also nominated for an Oscar. And definitely this being an Oscar-nominated friendly movie, it definitely got like in a lot of categories, like Best Main Actor, Actresses, Score. Obviously, like if this didn't get nominated for a score, that would just be blasphemous. Like, this is a wonderfully made movie. I was so glad I got to watch this in the movie theater. And Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone really played it off well. And next up, The Place Beyond the Pines, starring Ryan Gosling as a motorcyclist, getaway driver, bank robber, who essentially is trying to provide for his new son and girlfriend after news comes out that she's pregnant. And that is where it leads to his and his other co-stars storyline coming in from Bradley Cooper. So this is like a very more rich, diverse movie. Rich.
I love you, I love you, I love you. I need to know what time it is. I need to know what time it is. I need to know what time it is because I took the clock and put it outside. Oh, my mama might be here. This room is so condensed. If I have to put away the camera because she has to use it, I'm gonna scream because I spent a whole hour trying to figure out where to put the camera at, but I'm not gonna show you what it looks like because it's all a mess. It is a mess, and she's gonna be here in 20 minutes. I don't know what to say. I am stuck trying to describe the place beyond the pines.
And I probably lost everybody because now nobody's watching this video. A rich, grounded way of telling a story, because essentially it's like, it's one movie then turns into another movie, because obviously what Ryan Gosling is doing is going to have consequences, and essentially it does. I like how it affects his children and how it affects this guy in the movie. But it's a very unexpected movie, very unpredictable, really catches you off guard halfway through. So if you love Ryan Gosling, check it out. Next up, Drive. Now, this is a fairly popular movie that really put Ryan Gosling on the map, really put him like in a lot of great movies afterwards. Like, he was popular in The Notebook in the previous decade and some other movies in between, but he plays as a silent character who, yes, he does emote dialogue and emotion, but a lot of that is kind of like through his face, and he excels at that. And he plays kind of like a getaway driver for the mafia, I want to say. But kind of like the same thing when I talk about The Guest. I mentioned this movie saying that they both have a great soundtrack, very 80ish, synth-driven. Use of color is great. And even at the time when it was released, people were disappointed by what they thought it was going to be like a straight-up action movie, but it was more of a slow burn drama. But people have seen its brilliance from the beginning, and now it's a well-regarded movie of this decade. Definitely one of my favorites. And now, At number 11, we have Blade Runner 2049, starring Ryan Gosling. Now, I had the pleasure of seeing this movie in theaters, and it makes me not want to watch it again unless it's in the theater because, oh my gosh. Because like watching this movie on the big screen was just magical. Definitely one of my favorite, probably my favorite movie from 2017. And of course, it has the one and only Harrison Ford, who was the main character in the first Blade Runner from like in the early 80s. And as a sequel, this excels expectations. This is often regarded as one of like the best sequels ever made. And the fact it came out 2 years ago and it's already getting that recognition is well deserved. This is a masterpiece. And definitely one of my favorite Denis Villeneuve movies. Like seriously, that guy is probably my favorite director from this decade because all of his films he has made are on my list. And he has one more that's coming up later. But man, I'm seeing great things with this guy because I know people said that their favorite directors like from like the 60s, Stanley Kubrick or Steven Spielberg, like where they view these guys as like the fathers of cinema or the one that whatever they make is gold. Denis Villeneuve, he's one of them.